This is trending. I'm not expecting greatness, right? They traded for Jimmy Butler at the trade deadline to come in and give Steph Curry life. He did that. Now you want to go into training camp not only healthy, but having those guys be able to get the reps on the floor, but you want to go into training camp with no distractions.
Right.
You want to go into training camp with the hopes of building team chemistry. Think about the Warriors and where they've been over the last 2 to 3 years, right? It's been the Klay Thompson drama, the beef with the organization. Can Steph finally come into the season without drama, where it's solely focused on basketball in that locker room? If they don't address this Jonathan Kuminga situation, then again, they're going to be entering another season with one of the greatest players to ever play the game of basketball with not that much time left, with drama, instead of focusing on basketball and hitting the ground running.
And I think the Warriors have proven over the last couple of years that it's been really, the two timeline thing has been really hard for them to master. They haven't quite found a way to bring along young talent in a way that is fair and also reflective of the victors go the spoils. In this case, the spoils were extensions to SGA, to Jalen Williams, to Chet Holmgren, all this offseason. And spoiler, that kind of long-term stability, it's also what lands Oklahoma City in the #1 spot in ESPN's off-season rankings that dropped today on ESPN.com. But let's just take a look at the rest of those rankings that were all released today here. So the back half of the rankings, it's filled with sort of perennial lottery teams here with two exceptions. You see the Celtics, and then you see the Indiana Pacers. Remember the Achilles injuries, Jason Tatum, Tyrese Halliburton, both franchises, they traded away talent that was essential to their recent successes. But one team's cast-offs is another team's treasure. So the Milwaukee Bucks, they come in at 14 after they signed Miles Turner, while the Hawks, they find themselves coming in at 12 with the additions of Kristaps Porzingis and Nickeil Alexander-Walker. So that gets us to the top 10. It is fueled by this season's off-season moves. The Magic, they jumped up to 8th, trading for Desmond Bane. The Clippers, they come in at 7. Bradley Beal, John Collins, Chris Paul. The Rockets, they have the #2 spot after signing Kevin Durant. So let's welcome in our senior writer, Tim Bontemps, who contributed to these rankings on ESPN.com. Tim, when you look at your biggest takeaway from the top 10, what would that be?
To me, Malik, it's Houston, as you just mentioned, being in that second spot, and to a lesser degree, the Denver Nuggets being third. You look at the top 3 spots, all being dominated by Western Conference teams. It goes back to those Achilles injuries you mentioned before with Jason Tatum and Tyrese Halliburton. The league, even more than ever, is tilted toward the Western Conference. And after that Kevin Durant trade back in June, Durant going to the Rockets in exchange for Dylan Brooks, Jalen Green, and what became the 10th pick in the draft, Kaman Malawak from Duke. That addition of Kevin Durant to the Rockets, a team that, as we saw in the Warriors series, is an exceptional defensive team, but struggled at times to score, and particularly Jalen Green struggled at times to be their lead perimeter scorer. To put Kevin Durant in, a guy who, even at this stage of his career, is a 50, 40, 90 guy in the high 20s per game, he is exactly the kind of piece they needed, and we could very easily be seeing a Houston-Oklahoma City Western Conference Finals. Malika, I know you and I would both be very excited to see Kevin Durant back in Oklahoma City with a chance to go back to the NBA Finals.
Can you imagine that atmosphere?
Oh, it's bad.
It would be awesome.
It's bad. I've seen it.
That would be awesome.
I got the cupcakes. It's not. It's bad. Okay. But anyways, good list. I don't understand why Denver is not #2. With Houston, I show and prove. Kevin Durant is amazing, one of the greatest players of all time, but it's going to take some time for them to gel, figure it out. They lost in the first round. They got to earn it. I'm not going to give them their flowers this quick. Denver, I know what they are, and that trade they made, the additions they made, exceptional. I like Denver this is a team that pushed the champs to 7 games.
I like them too.
I like them as #2. Also, how are the Knicks not higher? Why are they not above Cleveland? Like, the Knicks were in the Eastern Conference Finals. They added 2 shooters. They got a solid, great coach. I would have flipped those two.
Okay.
I mean, Cleveland, they didn't make it to these finals 2 years in a row.
All
I
right.
like the Knicks ahead of them.
I don't think anyone's going to argue. I think that's maybe a little bit of dealer's choice. I don't know if anyone's going to argue with you on flip-flopping those two. It's a matter of decimal points that we're talking about that separate.
Tim got that look, though.
Tim
He got that look.
Tim has put a lot of work into this list. I did, before you respond to that point, Tim, I'm hoping that we can hit on the Lakers being number 10 here, Perk. Not because they shouldn't be 10th, but I am curious. We've spent the beginning of our show talking about the lack of moves from the Golden State Warriors. The Golden State Warriors are ahead of them, and then the Orlando Magic and Los Angeles Clippers all ahead of the Lakers, Perk.
So three things.
Okay,
Number
start with
one, Tim and everybody else who made this list need to be fined. Number two, or they need vacation time because this list is horrible. This list is horrible, and the reason being is because you have the Lakers at number 10. That is beyond disrespectful. The Lakers are the best team in California right now. The Clippers, they're old. That's a nursing home. They have too many concerns, especially when it comes down to the health of Kawhi Leonard, who's their best player. When you talk about the Orlando Magic, like, are we serious right now? Are they better than the Lakers? Absolutely not. And then we go to the Warriors. We just did a whole segment about how the Warriors did absolutely nothing, about how Al Horford, Gary Payton II are waiting on the Jonathan Kuminga drama with the Warriors to get resolved. And so when you think about the Lakers getting a young athletic big and addressing the center position and getting a DeAndre Ayton, you look at them addressing the perimeter and getting a Marcus Smart, a primary defender, a point of attack defender, and then Luka is in shape. LeBron James is happy. He's been posting. He's ready for the season. He's working out. And you mean to tell me that they're number 10 on this list behind the Clippers, Magic, and Warriors? Oh, hell no.
The producers are in my ear saying we need to move on to the next topic. But, Tim, I can't let Perk call for your vacation time and not give you 20 seconds to respond here.
I'll be very quick. We are in late July, and we just got a very impassioned speech from Perk about why these rankings are wrong. That's exactly why we did the rankings. I think I should get a pat on the back and not a fine. That's what I would say.
I also think that potentially in a couple of days or even maybe a week, we could be revisiting these rankings. These are only the first off-season rankings because there is a major deal that the Lakers could strike as early as this weekend. All right, let's move through a couple more topics around the league while we have you, Tim. We'll move off your list. It's the latest edition of Chop It or Drop It. It's been a while. You all know how this goes. I'm going to give you a topic. We're going to choose whether we chop it up or we drop it and move on. Starting with LeBron James and Mav Carter on a yacht. That's that. But then you see LeBron, Maverick, and Nikola Jokic's agent on a yacht with the caption, and then maybe folks are going to get a little excited. Perk, chop it or drop it. Are we seeing some business dealings here for the future?
Off the court, if that was LeBron James, Rich Paul, and Nikola's agent, instead of Mav Carter, I would say chop it, but we go drop it. Because
with
this
all
has
respect to Mav.
to do with the game of basketball.
All right, well, they were just, wiggling their toes on a yacht. Staying in Europe, the NBA announced today that 2 regular season games, they're going to be played this year across the pond. The Magic and the Grizzlies will face off. It's the Bane Bowl, if you will. They'll play in Berlin, and then they will play in London. Tim, I feel like we should have seen it already. We should have seen it healthier, and yet, nonetheless, here we are. We're not going to let anything rain on our parade here, Coach. I want to start with talking about the Liberty side of all of this. Obviously, no Stewie in this one. They're coming off a letdown game. How can Jonquel Jones be a little bit more effective than we saw against the Wings?
Well, I think that she has to do better than what she did against the Wings because she floated around in the perimeter. Jonquel Jones, she is 6'6". Now, where's the weakness for the Lynx? I think it's interior defense. And with Jonquel Jones, if she establishes her